The Canadian women are in a playoff of their own right now. The national team, they have these 2 games against Jamaica in order to qualify for the Paris Olympics. The reigning champions want to get back there. They're in this position, Jordan, just to remind everybody, they've changed the way qualification works. The CONCACAF Championship was last year, which was a qualifier for World Cup and Olympics. So the Canadians, by finishing in the top 4, they qualified for the World Cup, but they needed to win that tournament in order to qualify for the Olympics. The Americans won the tournament, hence why they're in this playoff. Game 1 in Kingston, Jamaica. 2-0 victory for the Canadians. Let's go. Nichelle Prince, Adriana Leon.
What would you grade the performance as a whole? Out of 10, sorry, I got to specify. Out of 10, what
I'm not giving like an A, B, or C?
You can go that route if you want. I just like doing numbers, but if you want to do like B-, B+, A+, whatever, you can do that.
Well, I mean, I would give it an A. I would give it an A. I would give it a 10 out of 10. I don't know how you don't. You get a clean sheet. You limit Jamaica's, I think they had 2 shots on target. You finally, you score from open play. Both your goals are from open play. You had control of the game from start to finish. Bev Priestman changed her tactics. She made 4 changes to the starting 11 as well. So she changed personnel, changed tactics, players adapted, get the 2 goals on the road as well, which, matters in 2-legged affairs where, you go by aggregate. How do you not give them a really good grade for game number 1?
You said A, 10 out of 10. I'm going to say 9 out of 10. My only qualm.
Nobody wants you as a teacher, but anyways.
You know what's funny? I actually went to school to be a teacher, but anyways, long story short, I still have to go to faculty, but that's a whole nother thing.
Who are you? You play the saxophone? No, what do you play?
Recorder first.
No, that's questionable.
Saxophone.
You played it on the show.
Anyways, I digress. This is not about me. This is about the women and the game tomorrow.
Okay, anyways,
look, 9 out of 10 because I feel that they could have been better on the ball. I agree with everything that you said. I also like that they were so motivated. Leon looked like the Leon that we always talk about. Lawrence was great down the right-hand side.
She was going to bribe somebody for a goal if she needed to.
She was moving. She was tenacious. I loved it. You got to see that from your attacking players. When they're tenacious, good things just happen around. Maybe you don't score, but you set things up. But I don't know if it was the pitch. I don't know how you felt, Andy, if the pitch, if it was just a bit wet or a bit heavy. But just want them a bit sharper on the ball, especially in possession. There were some of those passes that were just forced. But 9 out of 10, I guess that's like an A-. But it's still a good result.
I guess you're not wrong because, Carmelina Moscato, who was in studio with me, there were moments where what led to Jamaica's chances was Canada giving up the ball. So credit to Canada for stifling Jamaica in many ways. But the bad news was whatever chances Jamaica had was because Canada turned over the ball. There were a couple errant passes. I get that. I get all that. If that was against a stronger opponent, that could have been at the back of the net, could have been a scarier game, sure. So hopefully they do clean that up.
And if one teacher gave you 10 out of 10 and one teacher gave you 9 out of 10, that's a 9.5. You take that.
You're taking it.
You don't go and say, ooh, no, I wanted a 10. Relax. Also, you got to go and show it again tomorrow night against Jamaica at BMO.
Sold out crowd, really excited about that. I wonder if, so here's the question. So Bev, it was, you catch Jamaica off guard. I think you catch a lot of people off guard by playing a different formation. And Carmelina, it was so wonderful having her in studio as well because, being a manager herself, being a championship man, she's won a title in Mexico. This is a smart, cerebral thinking manager, and she caught on right away to what Bev Priestman was doing, which you have to give Bev Priestman so much credit. She knew she needed to change. And what she did was she created partnerships because we were like, what is this? Is this a 4-3-3? Is this a 3-5-2? What is this?
It was both, by the way.
Is this a 4-4-2? What's happening? It was so fluid. It was constant motion. But if there's one thing Carm was able to pick out were these partnerships. And she said Sydney Collins was kind of like this ace because nobody really knows much about her.
That was her first start, second appearance.
Exactly. But she and Lacasse were creating this partnership. Ashley Lawrence and Leon were creating this partnership. Nichelle Prince kind of stayed a little bit more as the number 9. And then, Quinn and Fleming really stayed strong in that middle. But it was Bev Priestman overloading the flanks, knowing that, just on the wing, you had to just, overbear the opponent, create all this havoc over here. And then you had to rely on good crosses in, people getting on it, which is exactly what we saw with Ashley Lawrence and that great pass into Nichelle Prince, who headed it in. But it was overloading the flank. So it was kind of like this lopsided formation where everyone had to shift, but it worked. You have to give Bev Priestman credit. She needed to adjust. We said she needed to adjust, and she did.
You need options. I said that the players were a bit stale, and what I meant by that as well is that you knew where the ball was going to go. But having those options that they did on Friday, where you can play down, you can play in the middle through the block, you can play outside to go. Even if you look at the first goal from Ashley Lawrence, goes into Leon, out, then she gets to get a cross in.
Partnership.
And then another part we talk about is just like consolidating like the attacking identity. I always ask, watching Canada very intently recently, over this past year, is just how do they want to go forward? Both of the goals came from being inside, going wide, back inside. So if you're a crossing team, I think Canada did well and they performed in that aspect. But for me, you got to go and do it again.
That's what I was going to ask you. Same lineup, same everything?
I think so. You can maybe tweak one or two things, but I don't think you could tweak the way that you're going about your business. In terms of if you want to play someone else, like a Lacasse, you have to get a like for like. Don't switch up different things because they look galvanized, they look rejuvenated. So keep that vibe going and then go and smash the Reggae girls. Don't go and win 1-0 at home. Go and win 3-0. Try to really get those goals and pump it in because you don't get to meet as a camp all the time. So you have to get those moments when you're together to really just push yourself in a different stratosphere.
These games matter. Christine St. Clair was an unused sub game 1. If she's unused again in game 2, I mean, is this a sign of Bev kind of going the next level?
Yeah, it is a sign if you don't play her. But I also think with this squad, it's almost inevitable that like you don't play her in some respects. You know what I mean? Like maybe she pops in for 15, 20 minutes, but you have to invest in the younger players, the players that you will see at the next World Cup that you know that you want to invest in. That's just inevitable what happens. How she uses Christine St. Clair, what that relationship is like, that's for Bev and Christine to really sort out. But I definitely understand it's inevitable. When you get to that age and that stage in your career.
It's the end always is awkward.
It's very difficult to figure out. But I could see, and the way that some players have played, nearly all of them, it'd be tough to get into that squad for tomorrow night.
Well, and that's the other thing, right? I think a lot of people have said, well, what has been the other option? If Bev can get the best out of these other players, well, there's your answer when it comes to options. However, you cannot take away leadership that even just the presence of Christine St. Clair brings. But I think this is a conversation we're going to have, especially if she doesn't get into game 2. Because what does that even mean for her usage at next year's Olympics, right, if they qualify?
So $1 million question.
It's all very interesting. But either way, the Canadians are in the driver's seat taking a 2-0 win back to BMO Field. That's Wills. I'm Trills. You've been watching One Nation here on One Soccer. Us in our white t-shirts. See you later.